Welcome to the deep dive. Let's get straight to it. We're all about those moments when you're trying to manifest your goals, your dreams, but you're feeling just off,
Yeah.
in a funk.
Mhm.
We've all been there, right? That heavy feeling, zero motivation. It's like you get up and go, just got up and went.
It is. It's that frustrating disconnect, isn't it? You know what you want, but your internal state feels miles away. Today, we're diving into how to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
We've uncovered some really interesting ideas suggesting that you absolutely can shift gears and start manifesting even when you're feeling low.
Really?
Yeah, in fact, sometimes that's kind of where the most powerful transformations begin.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's maybe nail down what we actually mean by being in a funk. It's more than just a fleeting bad mood, isn't it? What are the key signs according to our sources?
Yeah, it's good to define. Think of it as a cluster of things. Emotionally, there's often a weightiness, sometimes bordering on feeling down, or even, a mild depression. Motivation tanks, those creative juices dry up completely, and those relentless negative thoughts just loop in your mind.
Ugh, yeah.
And crucially, there's often a sense of being detached from what truly lights you up, your desires, your sense of purpose.
That feeling of being stuck in the mud, totally unable to move forward.
Yeah.
Now, from a manifestation perspective, the material talks about this as operating at a low vibration. Can you break down what that really means and why it throws a wrench in our manifesting efforts?
Sure. Imagine your overall energy as a kind of signal you're broadcasting to the universe. When you're feeling good, inspired, connected, that signal is strong and clear. It's easier to attract what aligns with that positive frequency.
Makes sense.
But when you're in a funk, that signal is weaker, maybe fuzzy, making it harder for those desired outcomes to find you. It's like trying to tune into your favorite radio station when there's a lot of static.
Okay.
The encouraging part, though, is that this isn't a permanent setting. Your energy can be recalibrated.
That's the hopeful takeaway right there. Okay, so if we find ourselves in that low vibrational state, what's the absolute first thing we should do to, start that recalibration process and get back on the manifesting track?
Well, the initial step, and it might feel a bit counterintuitive at first, is radical self-acceptance.
Ah,
The material we've looked at really stresses the importance of acknowledging that you're in this funk without any self-criticism or judgment.
okay, so no faking it till you make it here.
Exactly. There's no benefit in trying to plaster on a smile or force yourself into high vibes when it doesn't feel genuine. In fact, that internal conflict, that resistance, can actually amplify the negative feelings.
That resonates. It's like trying to hold your breath. Eventually, you just have to gasp for air. So practically, what does this acceptance look like? How do we actually do it?
It's about getting really honest with yourself about what you're feeling. Name the emotions. Are you sad, irritated, anxious? Just allow those feelings to simply be present without trying to analyze or fix them immediately.
Just sit with them.
Yeah, sit with them. The source suggests tools like journaling to explore these emotions, maybe allowing yourself to cry if that's what comes up, or even engaging in gentle movement that feels comforting to your body.
Hmm.
There's a really grounding affirmation offered. I accept where I am. I give myself permission to feel this fully, knowing it's not permanent.
Hmm. I like that.
Yeah.
I accept where I am. I give myself permission to feel this fully, knowing it's not permanent.
Yeah,
That feels incredibly freeing. It acknowledges the present without making it a life sentence.
exactly.
How does that act of acceptance actually shift our energy and sort of open us up to manifesting again?
Well, by fully accepting your current state, you stop fighting against it. That internal resistance consumes a lot of energy.
Right.
Acceptance is like an energetic exhale. It releases that tension and creates space for things to shift naturally. It's no longer a battle, but a gentle acknowledgement, which allows a different kind of energy, one of healing and receptivity, to begin to flow.
Okay, so step one, embrace the funk, no judgment. Got it. Once we kind of made peace with how we're feeling, what's the next logical step to take?
Step 2 focuses on interrupting those persistent negative thought patterns.
Ah, the loops.
Yeah, the loops. The material highlights that when we're in a funk, our subconscious often defaults to these fear-based narratives playing on repeat. And as we know, the law of attraction responds to our dominant beliefs and feelings, not just our conscious wishes.
Those negative thought loops can be so insidious. Like your brain has its own doom-scrolling feature running in the background. How do we actually hit the pause button on that cycle?
The sources introduce a really useful approach called the thought reframe technique. It's a three-part process.
Right.
First, you identify the specific negative thought. The example given is, I'll never get out of this.
Yep, heard that one before.
Right. Second, you question its absolute truth by asking yourself, is this 100% true without any doubt?
Challenging it.
Challenging it. And finally, you consciously reframe that thought with a sense of possibility and by recalling your past resilience. So the reframe for that example becomes something like, okay, I'm in a temporary state. Things shift all the time. I've overcome challenges before, and I have that strength within me now.
I appreciate that it's about finding a more helpful perspective, not just forcing a, like, Pollyanna-ish
Yep.
outlook. It's about creating a crack of light rather than pretending it's high noon.
Precisely. It's vital to understand this isn't about toxic positivity where you're just dismissing genuine feelings with superficial cheerfulness.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No. It's about gently challenging the iron grip of those negative absolutes and reminding yourself of your innate capacity to navigate difficulties, opening a door to possibility.
Okay. So we've acknowledged our feelings. We're starting to address those unhelpful thought patterns. What's the next tangible step we can take to shift our energy in a more positive direction? Maybe something small.
Yes, exactly. Step 3 is all about incorporating micro movements for energetic shifts. The material makes a really insightful point here. Attempting massive leaps from a low energy state to a high one can often backfire.
Oh, yeah. Burnout City.
Totally. Leads to exhaustion and feeling even more discouraged. Instead, the focus should be on these incredibly small, easily achievable actions.
Micro movements. I like that concept. It feels much less daunting. Can you give us some concrete examples of what these might look like in our day-to-day?
Absolutely. The sources provide several excellent examples. Taking a moment to drink a glass of water slowly and with full awareness.
Okay, simple.
Very simple. Stepping outside for just 5 minutes of sunlight, even if it's cloudy. Lighting a candle and perhaps listening to a specific frequency, 528 hertz is mentioned, which is often associated with a sense of peace and healing.
Interesting.
Other examples include jotting down even one single thing you feel a sliver of gratitude for, or simply placing your hand over your heart and taking 3 deep conscious breaths, just 3 breaths.
These all sound so simple, almost too simple maybe. Yet, I get the sense that they could genuinely have an impact. What's the underlying mechanism? How do these tiny actions affect our overall energy?
Well, while they seem small individually, their effects are cumulative. They interrupt the inertia of that low energy state. You're introducing a different vibration, however small.
Okay.
The source material even touches on the idea that these subtle shifts can influence your electromagnetic field. Think of it as the energetic signature you're broadcasting. Small, positive actions start to subtly adjust that signature.
I gotcha. Okay, we're accepting, reframing, making these small energetic tweaks. What about our actual goals and desires? How do we gently start to reconnect with what we want when we're feeling so disconnected from everything?
That brings us neatly to step 4, gentle reconnection with your vision. The sources acknowledge that trying to force full-blown visualization when you're in a funk can feel like a massive uphill battle, and that's perfectly okay.
Phew.
The key here is to be kind to yourself and find softer, less demanding ways to tap back into your why.
So, no pressure to suddenly conjure up a detailed vision board in our minds when we're feeling foggy. That's a relief. What kind of gentle approaches do the sources recommend then?
There's a specific journal prompt that's suggested, which I find particularly insightful. Even though I feel off today, my soul still desires.
I like that structure.
Yeah. The intention is simply to allow whatever comes up without any pressure or judgment. It's a way of acknowledging that even beneath the surface of the funk, your core aspirations are still present, still alive in there somewhere.
Just gently acknowledging them.
Exactly. And the sources also suggest that as you start to feel a little more energy, then you can gradually ease back into more active practices like maybe journaling about your ideal future, writing affirmations, or engaging in brief, low-pressure visualizations.
That feels much more accessible. It's like testing the waters before diving in. Okay, so once we have that gentle awareness of what we still desire, how do we start to actively, manifest from this perhaps still lower energy starting point?
That leads us to step 5, which involves using soft manifestation techniques. When your energy reserves are low, these gentler tools can be incredibly effective for subtle energetic regulation and alignment without requiring a massive output of effort.
Soft manifestation. That's a helpful distinction. Okay, tell me more. What are some of these less intensive techniques?
The sources detail a few really accessible methods. One is the whisper technique, where right before you drift off to sleep, that receptive state, you gently whisper a desire or intention to the universe.
Oh,
An example provided is, Universe, guide me toward peace. Show me the next step I need to take. Simple, quiet.
I like that. What else?
Another is the water intention ritual. You hold a glass of water, consciously speak an intention into it, something like, this water supports my clarity and ease, or whatever feels right, and then drink it slowly and with mindful presence.
Infusing the water. That sounds incredibly soothing and very manageable, even on a really low-energy day.
Sure.
Was there a third soft technique highlighted?
Yes. The third involves leveraging the concept of the emotional guidance scale, which many will know from Abraham Hicks. The core idea here is not to try and leap from a very low emotion like despair all the way up to joy. That often feels impossible.
Yeah, too big a jump.
Exactly. So the strategy is to aim for just one small, incremental move up the scale. For instance, if you're feeling utterly hopeless, maybe the next achievable rung up is simply feeling bored. Boredom is better than hopelessness.
Prize is less heavy.
Or if you're experiencing intense fear, maybe the next shift is to anger. Anger has more energy than fear. These small upward movements create momentum and make the overall shift feel much less overwhelming.
That's a really practical and realistic way to approach emotional shifts. It breaks down the process into much more achievable steps. Now, something that often comes with feeling low is that sense of isolation, like you're all alone in it. How do the sources address that aspect of being in a funk?
That's a crucial point, and it brings us to step 6, leaning into universal support. The sources really reassure us that even when we feel most alone in our struggles, we are fundamentally connected to a larger source energy, a universal intelligence. We're never truly cut off.
That's comforting to remember.
It is. And engaging with high-vibe teachings is suggested as a way to reinforce this. Reading or listening to figures like Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks, Florence Scovel Shinn, their work can really help reconnect you with that feeling of inherent support and interconnectedness.
Okay, so immersing yourself in that energy. What are more direct ways to actively tap into that universal support when we're feeling that disconnect?
The sources offer some really empowering invocations you can use. One is, show me what I am currently unable to see. Align me with the abundance that is already mine.
Powerful.
And there's a particularly comforting affirmation to say aloud, maybe even when you don't fully believe it yet. Even in this moment, I am supported. Even now, the universe is working on my behalf. Repeating these can be a powerful way to shift your perspective and cultivate a sense of underlying support.
Those are beautiful and really reassuring. It's a good reminder that we're part of something bigger, even when we feel small. Now, this whole experience of being in a funk can feel so negative, like a setback,
Yeah.
a failure even. Do the sources offer any way to actually reframe this experience in a more positive or beneficial light?
Absolutely. And this is step 7, which focuses entirely on reframing the funk as fertile ground.
Fertile ground. Interesting.
Yeah, the sources offer a really compelling perspective that some of the most significant manifestations can actually follow periods of challenge. The underlying reason often cited is that contrast sharpens clarity.
So experiencing what you don't want helps you get crystal clear on what you do want.
Precisely. Experiencing the low clarifies the high. So the funk isn't necessarily a detour, but potentially part of the journey itself, helping us get clearer on our true destination, our true desires.
So the funk isn't a failure, maybe it's feedback.
Exactly that. The sources encourage us to reframe it not as personal failure, but as valuable feedback. It can illuminate areas where your subconscious might need some attention and healing, maybe highlight aspects of your life that no longer resonate, and, as we just discussed, provide a deeper understanding of your true desires.
Oh,
The invitation is to mine it for gold, to look for the valuable insights and lessons embedded within the experience, rather than just resisting it or wishing it away.
that's a really empowering shift in perspective,
Mm.
to see the potential for growth and clarity, even in the midst of feeling low. As we start to bring this deep dive towards a close, the sources offer a specific closing ritual for energetic alignment. Can you guide us through that?
Yes, this is a simple yet powerful ritual you can use anytime you feel the need to recenter, especially after exploring these ideas. Begin by sitting quietly and gently, placing both your hands over your heart.
Okay, hands on heart.
Take a few slow, deep breaths. Then, visualize a soft, warm, golden light gently rising up from the earth, through your feet, and filling your entire body with warmth and ease.
Nice visual.
As you hold that image, whisper your intention, for example. I choose peace. I choose alignment. I am open and ready to receive. Or whatever feels true for you.
Okay.
Finally, say aloud, softly or strongly, I honor this moment. I honor my emotions. And I consciously choose to open my energy to a new, more positive frequency.
I honor this moment. I honor my emotions. I choose to open my energy to a new frequency.
Yeah. And the suggestion is to just allow yourself to sit with this feeling for maybe just 3 minutes. A quick reset.
That sounds like a beautiful and really accessible way to bring ourselves back into balance. So thinking about everything we've covered, what's the ultimate key takeaway from all of this for our listeners?
I think the core message that the sources really underscore is that manifestation is an ongoing process. It doesn't just switch off when you feel bad. It's still happening, even when you're feeling down, even when doubts creep in, and even when it feels like your efforts aren't yielding results. The universe is still listening.
That's so important.
It is. The law of attraction isn't about achieving some unattainable state of constant, perfect positivity. It's about being authentic, being present with where you are, acknowledging the funk, and remembering your inherent power, even when it feels temporarily obscured or forgotten.
That's such a vital reminder. It takes so much pressure off the whole process, doesn't it?
Definitely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it really makes you wonder, how might those moments when we feel the absolute lowest, when we're deep in that funk, actually be providing us with the most profound insights? And maybe, just maybe, unknowingly preparing the ground for some of our most significant breakthroughs and manifestations down the line. It's definitely something powerful to consider.
Absolutely. It encourages us to see the cyclical nature of our energy, perhaps, and to recognize that even the valleys play a crucial role in shaping the peaks ahead. Food for thought.